Should you take the what the US administration is saying seriously or literally? That's the question. It is very important because if you don't believe what they're telling you they're going to do, specifically having to do with the tariffs, you might be missing the boat. You might not understand that this administration is driven. This administration is serious. You may agree, they may be right, they may be wrong, but they're going ahead with it regardless. So, what are you going to do about it? Do you truly believe that they should not be taken seriously? We talked about the 25% tariffs, and the 25% tariffs are here, and they're here to stay. In fact, there may be more tariffs. In fact, we don't even know what kind of tariffs we're going to have. But keep in mind of something very important is that just for the autos alone, the fact that you're going to have a 25% tariff, it's not just you just bring the car over, right? And then you get no, there's 35,000 parts in a car, unless you have a Tesla, which is about 4,000. But there's 35,000 parts. You get those parts from everywhere. In fact, some of the parts that you're getting actually come from the U.S. back to Mexico, back into the U.S. It's a mess. It's an uncertain mess. So when you think of them, you look at them literally. That's okay. Should you be taking them seriously? You better. You better know which one it is. Because if you think that this is just a show and eventually nothing is going to happen and everything is going to go back to the way it was, well, the way it was in November, we thought that the new administration would going to come in and they would cut taxes and cut some fat out of the system and some regulations, and they would be a best friend to Tesla. Look what happens now. And then, of course, the Fed would eventually lower the rates. And look where we are now. We are in a totally different world. We are in a literal world. We're in a world right now where we really don't know, and it's not even knowing, it's we don't even understand the implication of everything that's about to happen. I've been speaking to a few large investors, and what are they doing right now? They're going into gold. They're pulling their money out. You know who pulled their money out a long time ago? And frankly, I don't really think that what's going on right now is due to the new administration. Okay, the market was overvalued, and Warren Buffett saw it in July of last year. He started unwinding his positions. That's how you become a billionaire. You know when to get out, and that's what he did. He unwound his position and he sat on the cash. He looked stupid in November. He looked stupid in December, but he looks pretty smart now. Wouldn't you want to be sitting on that pile of cash right now and wait? Because that's how you make money when everybody else is selling. Are they done selling? We shall see. We can't predict, but I could predict that. You certainly can predict lots of volatility in this market, and you need to pay attention to that because no one really can possibly understand what's happening. And you have to be careful as to who's talking to you, because if you're talking to people, if you're listening to people, depending if they're on the right or they're on the left, they're going to tell you different stories, different fairy tales. In fact, what they're telling you are talking points. It's always the same thing on both sides. And they're just pushing a certain rhetoric because, frankly, they don't know what's going to happen. They just want to tell you what you want to hear. If you don't like the current administration, then tariffs are bad. If you like the current administration, the jobs are going to come back to the U.S. In fact, there's investments being brought into the U.S. We have some inflation in between, but who cares and who knows? So at the end of the day, what you need to worry about is yourself. Don't listen to too many pundits. Listen to what you think is important. Listen to what you think needs to be done for you. But obviously, you need to understand what's going on in the world today. And right now, it's kind of a huge, uncertain, I wouldn't call it a mess, but it's an uncertain situation driven by decisions that are going to permeate through the system, and each level of the system is going to impact the final result based on what each of those layers of the system are going to do. Just think of it just for the car manufacturers alone, right? They're going to say, listen, we're going to get hit with some tariffs. How am I going to get the rivet for this car? The plant is in Mexico. I'm going to get taxed 25%. That's going to cost me more. Do I really need it? Do I need to more investment, build more plants? If you know what I mean? So and only an expert would understand how it works, but an expert will never understand what the people in decision making position, what kind of decision they are going to make. You don't know what they're going to do. You may understand how it works, but you may not understand what they're going to do. And every single person in this process might react in a normal business way, or they may react in a political kind of way, which is basically what Canada is doing. We're going to hit you back. We're going to hit you. You know what I mean? So for you as an investor, you need to make sure you understand and you follow exactly what is happening.